SB Daniel sat down with his friends, and when they encouraged him to drink, he told them he doesn't drink. Daniel's friends asked where does he live, and he told them he lives with a dropout because he can't tell them about his two-body secret. Everyone though Daniel lives with a gangster and thought that he is cool. Some thugs shouted at Daniel and his friend for being too noisy and told them to keep it down. When Daniel's friends didn't listen, one thug came forward and grabbed Du Li by the collar. Daniel told the thugs to let go of Du Li with a broken bottle of wine in his hands, which he grabbed to apologize and pour drink for the thugs. The thugs got scared and ran away in an alleyway and started smoking. Daniel accidentally drank alcohol which made him unconscious and he woke up in his OG body. He tried falling asleep again to wake up in his SB body, but even after falling asleep, he couldn't wake up in the SB body. Daniel found out that when the body is unconscious from being drunk, he can't transfer his conscience in that body and reach the place to pick up his SB body. He told the friends there that the guy SB Daniel lives with has told him to pick SB Daniel. Zach was drunk, so he told OG Daniel he is sorry for all the beating and they should be friends. Zach took Daniel to an arcade and showed him a straight punch as a gift, so Daniel forgives him. After everyone left, Daniel tried the straight punch on the punching machine but missed and only grazed it. Daniel took his SB body on his back and started walking away. Vasco saw the machine and it was torn. Even though Daniel just grazed it, the scene shifts. Zach was waiting for Mira so they can go on a library date together, but Mira told Zach to not fight this time. When they reached the library together, Zach saw those thugs from before but ignored them. When Zach was at the back of the library to buy snacks, those thugs stopped him and tried to pick a fight, but Zach controlled himself. Zach told them he would let them go today since he is in a good mood. Inside the library, those thugs started throwing paper balls at Zach and tried to provoke him. Zach realized he has done all these things with other people too, and was angry at himself. Zach left the library and sat outside on a bench where Mira was sitting while boiling with anger. One thug crossed the line and tried to hurt Mira. Zach lost it and punched the thug in the face, breaking all his teeth. Zach apologized to Mira and crushed all the thugs by beating them as much as possible. The scene shifts. Daniel mother was looking at his sleeping body and smiling at him. Sub Daniel entered the house and introduced himself as OG Daniel's friends so he can hide the secret about two bodies. Daniel took his mother to a cafe, and as she saw the prices she told him that those are very expensive. Daniel realized that she have never even tasted anything more than instant coffee before and was angry at himself for being selfish all this time. Daniel's mother smiled at Sulby Daniel and gave him 5,000 won while telling him not to hit or bully Daniel. After she left, Vasco came to Sulby Daniel and told him that today he will teach him a lesson so he doesn't rip other people of their money again. Vasco threw a punch at Daniel which he barely avoided, and then Vasco threw several attacks but Daniel avoided them all. Vasco told Daniel to give the 5,001 back so he can return the money to OG Daniel. Daniel misunderstood him and thought he is just like those bullies who take other people's money by force. Daniel avoided Vasco punch again and delivered a elbow strike on his face and knocked him out. Vasco was laying on the ground thinking Daniel is too strong for him and he can't defeat him. The scene shifts. Daniel entered the classroom and greeted everybody including his friends. The whole class was talking about brands and when they saw Daniel's backpack and shoes, they whispered about how Daniel might come from a poor family. Jay heard all of that while he was sitting on his desk and looked deep in thought. In the evening, Jay walked towards Daniel carrying a big bag with a happy birthday note on it and gave it to him. The next day, Daniel enters the classroom and everyone looked at him as he was covered in expensive brands from head to toe. Turns out the bag was full of expensive clothes. The scene shifts. We saw Vin Jin rapping in an interview, and the director selected him quickly. Duke was sitting outside waiting for his turn, but the director kicked him out since he was ugly. The next day in class, Vin Jin teased Duke about how he got kicked out even before he could give the interview. In the evening after school, Vin Jin and his friends saw Duke's grandmother selling food in her shop. Duke's grandmother told them to eat a lot and they ate everything. She packed some food and gave it to them, but they tossed it into garbage later. The next day at school, Vin Jin and his friends were making fun of Duke and his grandmother. Vin Jin grabbed Duke's hair and told him to stop rapping, since he isn't gonna get selected anyway. In the cafeteria, Daniel saw Duke getting beaten by Vin Jin and told Jiho to call him over and eat together, while Duke was eating with Daniel and Jiho. Vin Jin threw a cup at Duke and asked him to bring him some water. Zach told Vin Jin if he is that 30, he should go and get it himself. Vasco told Vin Jin to pick up his cup and not to bully the weak. Vin Jin got frustrated and left the cafeteria while kicking a bench with anger. After lunchtime was over, Dicky saw Daniel singing in the empty class and was impressed by how good his voice is. Duke told Daniel that they should perform together at the festival. Hearing that made Daniel shocked since he thought Duke was a coward like him. When Daniel was at Duke's house to practice for the performance, he heard Duke's rapping and was amazed by how good it was. In the evening, Daniel and Duke was walking together when Duke's grandmother suddenly called out to Daniel and told him to eat. Daniel smiled and told her that they already ate. The scene shifts. Daniel was practicing singing in his odd body while also doing his cashier work. The beautiful girl from before entered the shop again and complimented his voice and gave him a cold. After she left, Jiho and Duke arrived and Jiho apologized for trying to steal a charger that day. When Duke and Jiho was talking about how nice Sibi Daniel is, Vasco appeared and asked them if what they just said was true. Vasco then looked at OG Daniel and told him that he isn't weak, so he should work out, and if he doesn't know how, he can always come to him. The next day, Duke listens to Daniel singing again and was amazed that he had improved so much in just a few days. The school festivals begins, and everybody was excited for the events and games it included. Everyone played and completed all the events, and finally it's time for the bidding, where Daniel was the product and the girls bid on him. Zoe bid $300. The fat girl bid $1,000, and that made everyone back away. Suddenly the beautiful girl from the convenience store bid $2,000. When the fat girl bid $2,500, the beautiful girl bid give $1,000 and won the competition. When Daniel thanked her for saving him from that fat girl, she looked at Daniel and told him what is wrong with that girl and why is he looking down on her. Daniel realized his mistakes. And when did I become like this? He then tried to stop her to clear the misunderstanding, but her bodyguard Gun Park grabbed his hand. Daniel shook Gun's grip and then Gun delivered a Brazilian kick on his neck, which brought Daniel to his knees. Vasco saw this and interfered to save Daniel.